All right, third grade, we are now on lesson 6 of different kinds of adjectives. And remember, we started talking about adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe verbs. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. So adverbs are a type of adjective, but they're in their own category. So today we're going to talk about more kinds of adverbs. Last time we talked about adverbs that tell how. Today we're going to talk about adverbs that tell when and where. So let's read what other kinds of adverbs there are. Adverbs tell how an action happens, but they can also tell when and where an action happens. So let's look at this example sentence. This adverb is going to tell us when. Yesterday, my family drove to Florida. So remember, to find the adverb, first we need to find the verb. So what's the verb in this sentence? Drove is the verb in this sentence. So now we ask ourselves, drove when? Drove yesterday. That's why yesterday is highlighted. This is the adverb of the sentence. Now for the next one, we're going to see where, the adverb that tells us where. We arrived there at night. So what's the verb in this sentence? Arrived is the verb. So after we find the verb, we ask ourselves, arrived where? Arrived there. There would be the adverb of this sentence. So now let's look at different types of adverbs that tell when and where. This little box right here is going to be very important to you. These are most of the adverbs that tell when and where. Okay, these are keywords. So always tells when, first, later, next, often, soon, then, today, tomorrow, yesterday, all tell when a verb happened. Ahead, around, away, everywhere, far, here, nearby, out, there, upstairs are different adverbs that tell us where a verb happened. So let's go to try it out, speak up. The directions say, what is the adverb in each sentence? Does each adverb tell where or when? So we're going to read each sentence, first we have to identify the verb, then we have to identify the adverb, which is what we are looking for, then we're going to answer if the adverb tells when or where. Number 1, Dad always takes a map on trips. What's the verb in this sentence? Well, the verb is takes. Takes is the verb and not trips, because trips is like a vacation in this sentence, not trips like somebody tripped over a rock. So takes is the verb. So we're going to ask ourselves, takes when or where? Takes when or where? Well, Dad always takes. Always will be the adverb, and it tells us when or where. Well, it tells us when. Always is not a location, so we are answering when for this first one. Number 2, the map was not upstairs. What's the verb in this sentence? Well, it's a little tricky one. It's a hidden one, but the verb is was. Now we ask ourselves, was where or was when? Well, here we see a location, upstairs. Upstairs tells us where. That's our adverb for the sentence. Number 3, he walked all around. What's the verb in this sentence? Walked is the verb. So now we ask ourselves, walked where or when? Well, it tells us he walked around. Around would be the adverb in this sentence because it tells us when or where. It tells us where. And remember, our blue box gives us some of these hints. Some of these answers I've already seen here in the blue box. Number 4, he searched everywhere for it. What's the verb in this sentence? Searched is the verb. Now we ask ourselves, searched where or when? Well, he searched everywhere for it. Does everywhere tell us where or when? Everywhere tells us where. It's even in there, you see, where. So that kind of gives it away. Number 5, then he checked the garage. Now, what is the verb in this sentence? Well, the verb is checked. So now we ask ourselves, checked where or checked when? Well, this one is actually a little tricky because if you ask yourself, checked where, he checked the garage. That answers the question. But garage is not an adverb. Garage is a person, place, or thing. It's a noun. So that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is actually then. Then he checked the garage. Then answers where or when? It answers when. When did he check the garage? He checked it then. So this one is a little tricky, and sometimes you'll have tricky questions like this. So you have to be very careful, okay? Sometimes it's going to seem like this would be the answer, but you have to think, is this an adverb or a noun? This one is a noun, so it cannot be the adverb. Number 6, tomorrow Dad will get a new map. Well, what's the verb in this sentence? Get is the verb. So now we ask ourselves, get where or get when? Get when would be tomorrow. Dad's going to get a new map tomorrow, and that answers when. Not that bad, right? It can be a little tiny bit tricky, but you just have to be very, very careful. Remember, ask yourselves when or where, and make sure that the adverb is an actual adverb and not a noun. Now let's look to see what your assignment is going to be for today. Your assignment is to do on your own numbers 7 through 18. So you're going to read each sentence and underline the adverb or highlight the adverb. Then write when or where after each one. So on OneNote, this page is going to be there. You have to underline the adverb. So ask yourselves those questions that we did when we did the examples. And then on the side here, you're going to see a box that says when or where. You can either highlight if it's when or where, or you can delete the one that's wrong and just keep the correct one. It's up to you, but there will be a little box after each sentence saying when or where. And that is your assignment for numbers 7 through 12. Then 13 through 18, it says, this schedule has 6 adverbs that tell when or where. Write the schedule, underline the adverbs. So again, you don't need to write the schedule. This is going to be there for you. You just need to underline the different adverbs, okay? So here, the example sentence says, we arrived in Brazil, woohoo, yesterday. So we ask ourselves, what's the verb? The verb is arrived. So we ask, arrived when or where? Well, if we say arrived where, it's Brazil. But is Brazil an adverb? Nope, Brazil is not an adverb. That's a place. It's a specific place. It cannot be an adverb. That's a noun. So, arrived when? Arrived yesterday. Yesterday would be the word that we would highlight. And that's what you're going to do for these sentences. Remember, there are 6 adverbs. So make sure that you have all 6 underlined or highlighted. All right, go ahead on OneNote and do this assignment. Good job, guys.